Whispering Shards, a symphony of the silent bard. Once upon a time, in the heartland of Falia, nestled between verdant rolling hills and the cerulean serenity of Lake Larnia, resided a mute musician, known to all as Xavier. Crafted with the utmost precision, Xavier's only solace and mode of expression was a shimmering, glass violin. Forged in the mystical fires of Mount Zurelia by the legendary glassblower Alastair, this magnificent instrument did not merely create melodies. Instead, the glass violin resonated with the pulse of nature, each note whispering tales of rustling leaves, chattering brooks, and the quiet murmur of a twilight breeze. Through this enchanting instrument, Xavier managed to express the words that the cruel hand of fate had denied him. The Crystal Fair of Falia, a grand celebration held once every decade, was fast approaching. It was a festival that brought the usually quiet hamlet to life, as visitors from all corners of the kingdom flocked to participate in the merriment. In this grand spectacle, the most anticipated event was the Symphony of Souls, where musicians showcased their talent. The winner promised a wish granted by the benevolent Queen Adelaide. Xavier, despite the silence that chained his words, yearned to share the symphony that played in his heart, the same symphony that resonated with every twang of the strings on the glass violin. More than any wish, the mute musician desired for the villagers to understand his voiceless speech, to feel his silent thoughts, to connect with his unspoken emotions. Weeks turned into days, and days into hours, as Xavier rehearsed with unwavering determination, the glass violin filling the tranquil valley with melodies of the forest, the river, and the night. In the quiet of the dawn, Xavier's melodies sang tales of dew-kissed flowers awakening to the first light. As dusk approached, the sonnets of the glass violin whispered of the setting sun kissing the world goodnight. Through it all, Xavier found a harmony between his silent words and the symphony of nature. The day of the Crystal Fair arrived, painting Falia with hues of joy, laughter, and expectation. The villagers, oblivious to Xavier's intent to participate, carried on with the festivities, their excitement mirrored in the vibrant fair decorations, the sweet aroma of pastries, and the merry clinking of crystal glasses. The time came for the Symphony of Souls. One by one, musicians presented their art to the eager audience and the discerning gaze of Queen Adelaide. Yet, none of the performances moved the Queen. As the event neared its conclusion, Xavier, clutching the glass violin, entered the stage. A gasp of surprise filled the air as the villagers recognized Xavier, and a hushed silence fell over the crowd. Holding the violin delicately, Xavier caressed the strings. The first note was a gentle sigh of the wind, whispering through the emerald leaves. The second note echoed the bubbling laughter of the brook. As Xavier played, the melody evolved, transforming into a living poem, a ballad of the seasons, a sonnet of the elements. Suddenly, an unforeseen incident occurred. A gust of wind, far stronger than any that day, blew across the stage. The glass violin slipped from Xavier's grasp, crashing onto the stage. The crystal-clear pieces scattered like stardust, reflecting the collective gasp from the audience. Undeterred by the calamity, Xavier picked up a shard, its sharp edges catching the light. Holding it against the strings, Xavier began to play once again. The melody born from the shard was different, yet hauntingly beautiful. It carried the mournful sigh of the wind, the grieving tears of the rain, the wail of the winter blizzard, the sorrow of the setting sun. Xavier's music spoke of loss, of longing, of pain, and of resilience. Each note was a teardrop, a memory, a shard of his shattered heart that now resonated through the remnants of the glass violin. In the royal box, Queen Adelaide, a figure always seen as serene and composed, was seen wiping a tear from her eye. The rest of the crowd, their hearts echoing with Xavier's poignant melody, stood in a stunned silence. The Symphony of Souls had turned into a symphony of emotions, each note tugging at their heartstrings, each melody speaking directly to their souls. They were not just listening to the music, they were feeling it, living it, becoming a part of it. As the last note ebbed away, Xavier stood still, the shard of glass in his hand reflecting the setting sun. The silence that had enveloped the crowd was now filled with the echoes of Xavier's soulful performance, resonating within their hearts. The silence broke, replaced by thunderous applause. Hats were thrown in the air, tears were wiped away, and voices echoed in celebration. Even the usually silent nightingales perched upon the trees were joining the melody of cheers. Xavier, the mute musician, had spoken more eloquently than any wordsmith present there, his symphony resonating through the shards of glass and the hearts of those present. Queen Adelaide, rising from her throne, declared Xavier as the victor of the Symphony of Souls. As promised, she granted Xavier a wish. But Xavier, who had found his voice through his music, had no wish to ask for. For the mute musician, the connection he had built with the villagers, the understanding he had developed, was more valuable than any wish.